that something was coming your way. And not just something small, not just a feeling or a passing thought, but something real. Something that lands, a text, a message, an opening, something that is going to pull the curtain back and show you everything. That is what this reading is about, and I want you to sit with that for a moment, because this is not just about a text coming through, it is about the full picture finally being seen. How it all started, what was really happening beneath the surface, and where this is all ultimately going, all of it right here. I feel like for some of you, there has been this quiet knowing, this feeling that you never got the full story from this person. Like you have been walking around with half a picture, sensing that something was left unsaid, and something important was never finished between you. And the cards are saying that chapter is closing now because the truth is finally making its way toward you. So let's get into what is actually happening here, because the energy around this is already moving, and it is moving with purpose. Here is the Seven of Cups, and I feel like this is showing me where things began, right at the very start of this whole connection. When this person came into your life, there was something almost dreamlike about it. Something that carried this magnetic, consuming quality from the beginning, but the Seven of Cups is also showing me that not everything was as clear as it felt in those very first moments together. I feel like this person was navigating their own inner fog, their own unspoken fears and unresolved things when they first stepped into your world. Some of what they brought you early on was genuine and real, but some of it was also what they needed to believe at the time. They saw in you what they wanted to see, and for a while that felt like everything was perfectly aligned and falling into place. Here is the Two of Cups now, and this card is showing me the moment the bond actually locked in between you two. I feel like there was a specific point early on where something shifted, where it stopped being casual and started becoming something far more significant. Both of you felt it, even if neither of you ever fully named it out loud, there was a recognition, a knowing between you. The Two of Cups is about that mirroring energy, that deep feeling of being truly seen by this person, of them really getting you. And I feel like that early moment of real connection, that first genuine and honest spark, is exactly part of why this text is coming now. Because this person cannot erase what that felt like. They cannot convince themselves that none of it mattered, and somewhere deep inside, they know it. Here is the Moon card, and this is where it gets really layered because the Moon is all about what was living beneath the surface all along. From the very beginning of this connection, there were things neither of you were fully saying, things living in the quiet spaces that existed between you. And for this person especially, there were feelings they kept folded away, things they told themselves were better left unspoken, buried somewhere they would not have to face. The Moon is showing me that this person has been carrying something for a long time, something that never fully went away no matter how hard they tried. And the text that is coming, the one this entire reading has been pointing toward, is tied directly to everything they were never able to say out loud. I feel like the cards want you to understand this is not random. This has been quietly building since the very first moment between you two. Here is the Ace of Wands, and I feel like this is the energy that is live right now, the charge, the breath, just before something finally ignites. Something has shifted for this person internally. There was a moment, a crossing of a line, where holding everything back simply became impossible for them. And I feel like for you, sitting in this energy today, something in your own body already senses that something significant is very close and incoming. That quiet hum you have been carrying, that low sense that something is about to break open and change things. The cards are saying, trust it. You are not imagining it. Something real and meaningful is moving toward you. And what arrives is going to answer more than you even knew to ask for. So yeah, this is already a lot. And I feel like somewhere in you, you already know why this reading found you today. So stay with me here because we are just getting started. And what the cards have waiting in the next part is where things get even deeper. Let's continue and see what is on your side. Because before we go any further into what this person is carrying, I want to talk about you first. I feel like so much of this reading gets focused on them, on what they did, on what they are about to do. And you matter here too. So let's look at where you actually are right now, emotionally, energetically, what has been living inside of you through all of this. Here is the Four of Cups. And I feel like this card is speaking directly to the place you have been sitting in for a while now. There is a kind of emotional stillness around you, not a peaceful stillness, but more like the quiet that comes from waiting too long for something. I feel like you reached a point at some moment where you stopped chasing the answers, stopped pushing for the conversation, and just went still. And that stillness has its own weight to it, because it is not indifference. It is someone who cares deeply but has had to protect themselves. Wow, and that is such an important distinction because a lot of people looking at you from the outside might think you have moved on. But the Four of Cups is showing me that you have not moved on, you have just learned how to carry this more quietly, more privately. You stopped broadcasting what you were feeling, you stopped showing this person how much they affected you, and you pulled your energy inward. And I feel like there is both strength and sadness in that because you had to do it. It was the only way to stay sane. Here is the Strength card now. And this makes so much sense alongside that Four of Cups because the Strength card is about what you have been doing quietly. You have been holding something together day after day without anyone necessarily seeing the effort, without this person knowing what it has taken from you. And I feel like that is the part of your story that never gets acknowledged, the amount of composure you have maintained through something that was genuinely hard. The Strength card is not about aggression or force, it is about the kind of power that comes from staying grounded when everything in you wants to react. And you have been doing that. So yeah, I need you to hear that because the cards see it even when the people around you do not. Here is the Hermit, and this is interesting because the Hermit is showing me that you have done a lot of internal work through this whole experience. There were moments where you had to go quiet with yourself, where you had to sit with questions that did not have easy answers. You had to look at this connection honestly, at what it gave you, at what it took, at what it might have meant. And that takes courage. I feel like you did not do that work perfectly. No one does, but you genuinely tried to understand yourself better through all of this. And one of the things you came to understand is that you deserve a full truth, not fragments, not half answers, but the real thing. Here is the Empress, and this is such a beautiful card to see in your energy, because the Empress is about your worth and your abundance. I feel like the Empress here is the cards telling you that what you bring to a connection is not small, it is not ordinary. You are the kind of person who shows up fully, who feels deeply, who brings a warmth and a realness that is genuinely rare. And somewhere in this journey with this person, maybe you started to question that. Maybe you let the silence make you feel like you were too much. But the Empress is correcting that right now. And the cards want you to hear this clearly. You were never the problem in this dynamic. Here is the Star, and I feel like this is the part of your energy that has kept you going, this quiet but persistent thread of hope. Even through the confusion, even through the moments where you wanted to close the door completely, there was a part of you that stayed open, and that openness, that willingness to believe that things could still shift and find their way to something real, that is actually why you are here. You did not just give up on this, not because you are weak, but because something in you knew that this story was not finished. And I feel like the Star is confirming that instinct in you was right. There is still something genuine here that has not fully resolved yet. So yeah, hold on to that because the next part of this reading is going to show you what is actually happening on their side of all of this. And trust me, what is on their side is going to give you so much context for everything you have been quietly carrying and wondering about, because the cards are not done yet. There is a whole layer still underneath all of this, and it is going to land for you in a real way. So stay with me, because the story is only getting more layered from here, and the cards still have so much they want to show you. Now let's move forward and see what is coming through, because this is the part where we flip the lens completely and we look at what has actually been happening on their side of this. I feel like this is the part of the reading that a lot of you have been waiting for, and honestly, the cards do not disappoint here. So let's get into what this person has really been carrying, what their fears are, what their patterns are, and what finally triggered all of this. Here is the Knight of Swords. And I feel like this is showing me something really important about how this person operates when they are overwhelmed. The Knight of Swords is fast, impulsive, reactive, and I feel like this person has a tendency to act first and process second when they are triggered. And what that has looked like in your connection is that there were moments where they pulled back suddenly, went cold, disappeared without real explanation. Not because they stopped caring, but because the speed at which their emotions hit them scared them, and retreating felt safer than staying present. I feel like this person has a pattern of running from the very things they actually want, and you have felt the whiplash of that more than once. The Knight of Swords is also showing me that when they finally reach out, when they send this text, it is going to have that same energy to it. There will be a directness, a kind of urgency in what they say, because once they decide to move, they move fast. They do not ease into it. Here is the Six of Swords now, and this is so telling because the Six of Swords is about someone in the process of leaving something behind. I feel like this person has been in a long internal transition, moving away from a version of themselves that kept choosing avoidance over honesty. They have been slowly, almost painfully slowly, crossing from one shore to another, from the person who could not say what they felt to someone who can. And that crossing has not been clean or easy. There were moments they almost turned back, moments where the old patterns almost won again. But the Six of Swords is showing me they did not turn back. They kept moving, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was confronting. Here is the Five of Pentacles, and this is where the fear lives for this person. This is the wound that has driven so much of their behavior. I feel like this person carries a deep fear of being left, of being the one who is too much, too needy, too exposed if they are fully honest. And so they built this habit early of protecting themselves before anyone could hurt them, of pulling away before they could be pulled from. Wow. And when you understand that, so much of what they did in your connection suddenly makes a different kind of sense. The coldness, the distance, the moments of silence, those were not about you. Those were about this old fear that has been running the show. And the Five of Pentacles is telling me that this person has recently had to sit with that fear. Honestly, really look at what it has cost them. Here is the Page of Wands, and this card is showing me the trigger, the specific thing that finally shifted something inside this person. I feel like there was a moment, a realization, possibly something they saw, heard, or simply felt that made the cost of silence too high. The Page of Wands carries this energy of a new message wanting to come through, of something that has been forming finally finding its shape. And I feel like for this person, it was a combination of things, the weight of what they never said, the fear of actually losing you for real. They had a moment of clarity where they understood that staying silent was no longer protecting them. It was actually destroying something real. Here is the Tower. And yes, this is significant because the Tower is about the moment the structure that was not working finally collapses. I feel like something cracked open for this person recently, something they had been using as a defense or a reason to stay closed just gave way. And rather than being destroyed by that collapse, they are actually stepping through it, using it as the reason to finally stop holding back. The Tower here is not about destruction. It is about the clearing that happens when something false finally falls, when the real thing finally gets room. And I feel like that clearing is what is driving this text, this exposing message, this reaching back with the truth they have been sitting on. So yeah, this person is not reaching out from a casual place. They are reaching out from a place where they have genuinely run out of reasons not to. And what they are carrying into that text is everything, the beginning, the truth, the confession, all of it finally coming through at once. And in the next part, we are going to look at exactly what they are about to do, how they are going to do it, and what changes when they do. Now let's go deeper and see what is underneath this, because this part is where the cards start showing me the actual movement, what this person is about to do, and how things begin to change. I feel like the energy here is really active. There is something kinetic in these cards, like something that has been still is finally starting to move. So let's see exactly what is coming, how this text arrives, and what shifts the moment it does, because the cards are very clear on this. Here is the Eight of Wands. And wow, this card is so direct because the Eight of Wands is pure forward motion, no hesitation, no pause. I feel like the moment this person decides to reach out, the moment they actually type and send what they have been holding, it happens quickly. There is no long drawn out deliberation at the point of sending. The decision gets made, and then they act on it before they can talk themselves out of it. And the Eight of Wands is telling me that what comes through to you is going to feel like a lot all at once, dense, layered, full. This is not a short check-in. This is not a casual, hey, this is something substantive, something that covers ground they have never covered with you before. I feel like the text itself is going to open with something unexpected, something that immediately signals to you that this is different from before. Here is the Justice card, and this is so powerful in this position because justice is about accountability, about things finally being set straight. I feel like part of what this person says in this text is an acknowledgement, a taking of responsibility for things that happened, for how they handled things. They are going to name something specific, something from the beginning of your connection, something they know they did not show up fully for. And the Justice card is telling me that this is not performative. This is not them saying what they think you want to hear. This is genuine. There is a reckoning energy here. Like this person has sat with their own behavior and finally stopped making excuses for it inside themselves. So what comes through in that text is going to have a weight to it, a seriousness, a quality of someone who has done real reflection. Here is the Wheel of Fortune, and I feel like this is showing me the moment everything shifts, the moment the text lands and the energy between you changes. Because the Wheel of Fortune is about a turning point, a moment where the direction of something reverses and a new cycle begins. I feel like the arrival of this text, the reading of it, is going to mark a very clear before and after in this situation for you. Before the text, there was a certain kind of uncertainty, a certain weight of not knowing, of wondering what was real and what was not. And after the text, that lifts, maybe not entirely, maybe not in every way, but the fog clears and you can finally see what you are actually working with. The Wheel of Fortune here is not saying this text fixes everything. It is saying this text changes the game, it moves the story forward. Here is the Three of Wands, and this card is showing me your position after the text arrives, standing at a new vantage point, seeing further than before. I feel like the Three of Wands is about the expansion that comes from finally having more information, more truth, more clarity to work with. Once this text comes through, you are going to be standing in a different place than you are right now, with a different set of choices available to you. And I feel like that is actually what the reading title is pointing at. Game over for the old dynamic. Game over for the version of this that was not working. Because what this person sends is essentially a confession, and confessions change things. They reset the board. They demand a different kind of response. Here is the Two of Wands, and this card is showing me you after you read it, standing at a crossroads, holding something new in your hands. I feel like in the moment after this text arrives, you are going to feel a rush of things all at once, clarity, emotion, maybe even relief. Because what they say is going to confirm things you already sense but could never be sure of, and that confirmation, that landing of truth is significant. The Two of Wands is about holding the vision forward, about looking at what is possible now that the hidden things have come to the surface. And I feel like the cards are showing me that what this text opens is not just a conversation, it is a doorway, a genuine option for something new. So yeah, stay with me, because what comes through in the next part is the part the cards really wanted you to reach, the confessions, the depth of it. Because the next layer is where this person finally stops editing themselves, and what they carry underneath is deeper than you might have expected. Let's keep going and see what is here for you. Because this is the part I feel like the cards have been building toward, the layer underneath all the layers. What this person never said out loud. I feel like everything we have looked at so far has been leading here to the confessions, to the truth that lived quietly inside this person all along. So let's go into it because the cards are showing me things in this space that are going to hit differently than what has come before. Here is the Nine of Cups. And this card surprised me here because the Nine of Cups is about deep emotional fulfillment, about a wish that was always present. I feel like this person carries a wish around you that they never voiced, a version of this connection that they have imagined but never said they wanted. And it is not some small thing. It is not a passing want. It is something they return to, something that has stayed with them through everything. The Nine of Cups is showing me that when they think about what they genuinely want, not what is safe, not what is easy, you are in that picture. Wow, and I feel like that is the confession underneath the confession, that this person wants more than they ever let themselves admit to you directly. Here is the Lovers card. And yes, this is significant because the Lovers is not a light card. This is a card about a real and defining choice. I feel like this person has been in a private war between what they want and what they are afraid of. And the Lovers is showing me that war is over. They have chosen internally, quietly, probably without fully telling themselves they were choosing. They have already made the decision about you. And part of what comes through in this text, part of what makes it exposing, is that this choice becomes visible. They stop hiding where they stand. The Lovers here is also telling me that what this person feels for you goes beyond convenience or habit. This is something genuine and real at the core. Here is the Four of Wands, and I feel like this card is showing me an emotional confession that this person has been holding for a long time. Now, I feel like this person associates you with something that feels like home, something steady and warm that they do not associate with many people. And that feeling has scared them because feeling at home with a person means you have something to lose, and that kind of vulnerability is terrifying. So the distance, the withdrawal, the moments of confusion they gave you, a lot of that was them running from how settled they feel around you. And in this text that comes out, maybe not with those exact words, but the feeling of it, the warmth of it, comes through in what they say. Here is the Knight of Cups, and this is the emotional truth of the message itself. This is what they are carrying as they write and send this to you. The Knight of Cups is romantic, emotionally open, someone moving toward a person with intention, with a kind of gentle but real courage underneath it. I feel like this person is going to say things in this text that they have never said to you before, things that have lived quietly inside them. There will be an admission in there, maybe about how they really felt from the beginning, maybe about a moment they have never stopped thinking about. And it is going to be clear to you when you read it that this did not come from nowhere. This came from someone who has been holding this for a long time. Here is the High Priestess, and I feel like this is the deepest layer, the thing they say that they themselves barely had words for until now. The High Priestess is about the truth that lives beneath conscious thought, the knowing that exists before language, the feeling that never needed explanation. I feel like this person has a truth about you, about what you are to them, about what this connection has meant that they have never fully put into words. And in this text, that truth finally finds a form, not perfectly, maybe not in the most articulate way, but the realness of it comes through clearly. You are going to feel it when you read it, that quality of something genuine landing, something that could not have been performed or manufactured. Here is the Ace of Cups, and this is where I feel like the emotional revelation of this text reaches its deepest point for you personally. Because the Ace of Cups is a new emotional beginning. It is the heart opening after a long period of being held carefully and quietly closed. And I feel like what this person says, what they finally expose, is going to open something in you too, something you had started to put away. So yeah, prepare yourself because what is in this text is not just information, it is an emotional event, and it is going to move you in a real way. And in the final part, the cards are going to show you where this lands, what the near future holds, and what guidance is here for you. Now let's go ahead and continue, because this is the final part, and I feel like the cards save something really important for this closing, something grounding and real. So let's look at what the near future holds after this text arrives, what the guidance is, and how this whole story is actually going to end. Here is the Sunday card, and I want you to really take that in because the Sunday in this position is one of the most hopeful things the cards can show. I feel like the Sunday here is telling you that what comes after this text, after this truth landing, is a period of genuine clarity and light. Not perfect, not without its complications, but a brightness that has been missing for a while, a warmth that finally has room to exist between you two. The Sunday is showing me that the exposure, the honesty, the pulling back of the curtain ultimately leads somewhere good, somewhere real and sustainable. And I feel like for a lot of you, that is the piece you needed most. The confirmation that the truth coming out is not the end, but a beginning. Here is the Ten of Pentacles, and this card is so grounding here because the Ten of Pentacles is about something that actually lasts. Something that builds. I feel like the cards are showing me that what this connection has the potential to become after the truth is finally on the table is something solid. Not a situationship, not a back and forth, but something with roots. Something that has been tested by everything it went through and came out real. The Ten of Pentacles is not a card of fantasy. It is a card of substance, of something that was built slowly and is now ready to stand on its own. And I feel like that is the version of this that the cards are pointing toward. The version where the honesty becomes the foundation of something new. Here is the Six of Cups, and I feel like this card is carrying a specific message, a reminder of why this connection has always felt different to you. The Six of Cups is about something that feels familiar at the soul level, a connection that carries a warmth and a recognition that is hard to explain. And I feel like this is what the cards want you to remember. That what you have with this person is not ordinary. It never was, and you sense that. That sense of familiarity, that feeling of knowing them in a way that went beyond the surface, that was real, and it was felt on both sides. So even through the confusion, even through the silence and the distance, something underneath stayed intact, and the cards are confirming that it's still there. Here is the Judgment card, and I feel like this is the overall message of this entire reading, the overarching theme that ties everything together. Judgment is about a rising, a moment where the old version of something finally releases and a truer, more honest version gets to step forward. I feel like that is exactly what is happening here. For this person, for you, for this connection. Something old is falling away and something real is rising. And the guidance the cards are giving you is this. When this text comes, when this truth arrives, receive it with an open and discerning heart. Not with walls, not with defensiveness, but also not with instant forgiveness of everything. Just an open and clear-eyed willingness to hear what is real. Because what this person is bringing to you deserves a real response, and you deserve the space to give one from a grounded and settled place. Here is the World card. And I feel like this is the closing energy, the card that holds the full picture of where this is all going. The world is completion, it is the ending of one full cycle and the very first breath of what comes next, and I feel like that is exactly right here. This chapter, the one defined by silence and confusion and unanswered questions, that chapter is closing, and the cards are showing me it closes well. What opens on the other side is something you have earned, something that is built on truth rather than assumption, on honesty rather than performance. So yeah, I feel like the cards really wanted you to hear all of that today because this reading was never just about a text coming through. It was about you understanding the full arc where it started, what was really happening, and the fact that it is moving somewhere meaningful. Trust what you feel when that message arrives. Trust what you already know about this connection. And trust that the truth, even when it is a lot, is always better than the silence. You are going to be okay, more than okay. And the cards are very clear on that. So take a breath and let what is coming find you. I hope this reading gave you something real today, something that settled in you rather than just informed you. And if it resonated, if something in here landed the way it was meant to, come back for the next part of your story because the cards always have more. Because this is the final part, and I feel like the cards save something really important for this closing, something grounding and real. So let's look at what the near future holds after this text arrives, what the guidance is, and how this whole story is actually going to end. Here is the Sunday card, and I want you to really take that in because the Sunday in this position is one of the most hopeful things the cards can show. I feel like the Sunday here is telling you that what comes after this text, after this truth landing, is a period of genuine clarity and light. Not perfect, not without its complications, but a brightness that has been missing for a while, a warmth that finally has room to exist between you two. The Sunday is showing me that the exposure, the honesty, the pulling back of the curtain ultimately leads somewhere good, somewhere real and sustainable. And I feel like for a lot of you, that is the piece you needed most. The confirmation that the truth coming out is not the end, but a beginning. Here is the Ten of Pentacles, and this card is so grounding here because the Ten of Pentacles is about something that actually lasts. Something that builds. I feel like the cards are showing me that what this connection has the potential to become after the truth is finally on the table is something solid. Not a situationship, not a back and forth, but something with roots. Something that has been tested by everything it went through and came out real. The Ten of Pentacles is not a card of fantasy. It is a card of substance, of something that was built slowly and is now ready to stand on its own. And I feel like that is the version of this that the cards are pointing toward. The version where the honesty becomes the foundation of something new. Here is the Six of Cups, and I feel like this card is carrying a specific message, a reminder of why this connection has always felt different to you. The Six of Cups is about something that feels familiar at the soul level, a connection that carries a warmth and a recognition that is hard to explain. And I feel like this is what the cards want you to remember. That what you have with this person is not ordinary. It never was, and you sense that. That sense of familiarity, that feeling of knowing them in a way that went beyond the surface, that was real, and it was felt on both sides. So even through the confusion, even through the silence and the distance, something underneath stayed intact, and the cards are confirming that it's still there. Here is the Judgment card, and I feel like this is the overall message of this entire reading, the overarching theme that ties everything together. Judgment is about a rising, a moment where the old version of something finally releases and a truer, more honest version gets to step forward. I feel like that is exactly what is happening here. For this person, for you, for this connection. Something old is falling away and something real is rising. And the guidance the cards are giving you is this. When this text comes, when this truth arrives, receive it with an open and discerning heart. Not with walls, not with defensiveness, but also not with instant forgiveness of everything, just an open and clear-eyed willingness to hear what is real. Because what this person is bringing to you deserves a real response, and you deserve the space to give one from a grounded and settled place. Here is the World card, and I feel like this is the closing energy, the card that holds the full picture of